There is power in this gathering. There is power in this gathering. Can I get an amen? Amen. We began this morning by singing, "Gather the Spirit, harvest the power." When we gather the Spirit, we're like a power gathering and power generating station, like a wind farm or solar farm or hydroelectric plant. We gather the naturally available energy and transform it into something accessible and usable as fuel for our daily lives. When we gather as a church community, in person and on Zoom, it's like plugging into a power source to recharge our batteries so that we can go out into the world to live our daily lives. Recharged so that we just might transform the world. Now, you and I both know that our world is in need of a transformation. I don't need to tell you about the unequal distribution of power in our world today, because I'm sure you bump up against it every day. Whether it's the world news of military power being wielded against innocent communities, or the local reality of people begging on street corners while private jets fly overhead. It doesn't have to be this way. Just imagine what this world could be if power, rather than being hoarded by a few, that power was shared generously. So let's talk about power. Have you ever noticed how power gets paired with other words? Power and privilege, power and influence, power and prestige. And then there's the ubiquitous phrase, the rich and powerful. Often, we intuitively equate generosity with money, that the value of our generosity can only be measured in dollars. And I hold out to you that generosity is much more than that. Generosity means sharing our power in all of its forms. It's easy to feel powerless these days. Powerless against big corporations whose very reason for existence is to extract profits from people and products to make CEOs and shareholders richer. Powerless against a military-industrial complex that is continually rewarded for making ever more powerful weapons of destruction. Powerless against the ongoing pandemics of racism, misogyny, transphobia, and homophobia. Powerless against climate change that has come about because of an insatiable desire to have more than our neighbors, a powerlessness that is fueled by fear and not having enough, a fear of not being enough. My friends, I am here to tell you that we are not powerless. There is power in this gathering. Can I get an amen? Amen. There is power in this gathering. And even so, it can sometimes be uncomfortable to talk about power. But let me assure you that power is a fact of life that is neither good nor bad, though it can be used for good or bad effects. A chainsaw, for example, is a powerful tool that can be used to cut mighty trees for firewood or lumber, and in unskilled hands, a chainsaw can cause grave harm. When we deny the power we possess, we run the risk of causing harm, unaware of the power that we hold in our hands. So let's be honest here. We are all products of the society that we live in. We don't have power in equal measure. And we know that in our American society there are great power imbalances. And because we are all shaped by the society in which we live, the power imbalances present in our larger society are present in our congregation. How could it be otherwise? But when we share our power generously, we have the power to transform the world. When those who have it use the power of privilege, be it the power of privilege that comes with gender or skin color or ability, or privilege that is conferred by where we are born, who our parents are, or where we went to school. When we are aware of that power and do the work of skillfully using it to transform our world, that is generosity. When those who have it use the power of influence, the power of connections with who we know, who we work with, who we socialize with, who we live with in our neighborhoods, and these days, the followers that we have on social media. When we share that power for the benefit of the common good, that is generosity. When those who have the power of prestige, the power of being known, being recognized by virtue of status, and sometimes that virtue of status is conveyed by job title. And again, we're going to be honest here. In our society, doctors, lawyers, university professors, ministers, professional athletes, and in this town, famous musicians have more prestige than, say, delivery drivers or fast food cooks. When those who have the power that comes with prestige use that power to lift up others, that is generosity. While our society at large confers power based on privilege, influence, prestige, and wealth, no one among us is powerless. To be alive is to have power, because we are all imbued with gifts of the Spirit, superpowers, if you will, gifts of being, gifts of beauty and grace, gifts that make life worth living. As Unitarian Universalists, I believe that our superpower is love, that love is at the center of our shared values and at the center of all that we do together. And so long as the spirit of love moves in our bones and our blood and our breath, we have power. Rebecca Ann Parker, who is arguably the most prominent Unitarian Universalist theologian of our time, writes, "Your gifts, whatever you discover them to be, can be used to bless or curse the world. The mind's power, the strength of the hands, and the reaches of the heart, the gift of speaking, listening, imagining, seeing, waiting. Any of these can be used to feed the hungry, bind up wounds, welcome the stranger, praise what is sacred, do the work of justice, or offer love. Any of these can draw down the prison door, hoard bread, abandon the poor, obscure what is holy, comply with injustice, or withhold love. You must answer this question: what will you do with your gifts? I say that when we answer the question of what we will do with our gifts with a resounding response that says, share them generously, our individual power is not diminished, but amplified and magnified. When we gather our gifts, our powers, those that are conferred by our society and those that are conferred by the virtue of being alive, gifts of the Spirit, there is no limit to what we might do together. My friends, this is no small thing that we do, this thing that we call church. We may look like a ragtag group of individuals doing our best to make our way through the world, but we are much more than that. We are invited to bring our whole selves here, knowing that we are all equal in worth, even when we aren't equal in the kinds of power that our society bestows. And denying this reality does not serve us well. Instead, we should all claim every ounce of power we possess and offer it generously in service to each other and to our bruised and hurting world. We should never underestimate ourselves or the power we possess, individually or collectively. In this season of electoral politics, a season of gathering political power for better or for worse, the stakes are very high. And I remind you, politics is nothing more and nothing less than organized power. Power itself is neutral. It is how we use that power that determines its value. The Gospel according to John says, "The wind blows where it wishes, and you hear the sound of it, but do not know where it comes from or where it is going. So is everyone born of the Spirit." To gather the Spirit is like capturing the wind and harvesting its power, a divine power born in each and every one of us. When we offer our gifts in service, we are a power-gathering, power-generating force that can be tapped into to recharge our batteries, to make our own light shine brighter, bringing more hope and more possibility into the world. It's turning the I of our individual selves into the we of community. Or as Rebecca Parker reminds us, none of us alone can save the world. Together, that is another possibility waiting. Repeat after me, if you will. We are. We are here. We are here together. We are. We are powerful. We are powerful together. Can I get an amen? Amen.